Hello and welcome to News 9 Live. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic, and that being Tamil Nadu Governor R.N. Ravi, who sparked off yet another controversy on Thursday when he said that the 2018 anti-Sterlite protest in Thoothukudi were foreign funded. Speaking at an event on Thursday, Governor R.N. Ravi was asked about the need to monitor FCRA funds, and he cited the protest against the Sterlite plant as an example of foreign countries intervening in India's affairs. He said, and I quote, "Take the case of Sterlite in Thoothukudi. It, meaning the protest, was purely foreign funded. Police firing that cost innocent lives was unfortunate, but they wanted it to be closed as Sterlite produced 40% of our copper. They closed it, that is the plant, and even now it remains closed. All those people who were behind it, that is the protests, were getting funds from foreign countries," and I unquote. And to speak more on this issue about what is the entire controversy about, in the studio, my colleague Ajit Vijay Kumar. Also joining us as guest, Fatima Babu, who's an activist, and Henry Tiffane, who's a human rights activist, People Watch, and also an advocate from Chennai in Tamil Nadu. A very warm welcome to all of you. Let me come to you turn by turn first to Ajit. Ajit, this is going to hurt a lot of people because the Thoothukudi firing, it killed 14 people, 13, 14 people. And I distinctly remember one teenager also. They were protesting, and it was on the 100th day that this happened. Now, he quotes something which you and I spoke about yesterday, which is FCRA. Do you think mixing the two and mixing it, dovetailing that with the protesters is fair, Ajit?
While, objectively, if you were to look at it, I think, he should not have mixed it. But, and it's a big but here, that his point at the moment is that those protesters were funded from foreign countries. I think the FCRA point is something that should be taken seriously. And it's not just the governor that who has said this. The government itself in the parliament has kind of suggested that it looks like that some amount of funding has come in, and now it's for the governor and the state and the central government here to actually prove it. I think until unless it's proved, we should not kind of put two and two together.
Yeah, and also I want to ask you one quick question before I go to my other guest, Ajit. A governor is a constitutional head. It's a constitutional appointment. Do you think it is also his place to comment on such things?
While this is not a political point, I think the issue here is that we are trying to put a FCRA issue and trying to turn it into a political issue, what is happening in Tamil Nadu today. I think we have to purely look at it from a point of view of foreign funding and whether the case has been proved or not. That's what I think we should look at it. The political parties and all those people who are against what he's saying possibly would want to mix it together. But in my view, I think let him prove what he has said.
Yeah, that is another thing which is a point of contention, is that what is the evidence? Let
Correct.
me now go to the guest, Fatima Babu and Henry sir. A very vanakkam, very warm welcome to you. Fatima, what does this do to you when the governor says that this entire protest was foreign funded? You've been a witness to it for years now. One has spoken with you several times over about what really happened that day. So your first reaction, Fatima Babu, on this entire incident, as it were?
Actually, it's definitely a malicious and spiteful statement, probably intended to belittle and defame a genuine people's struggle. The struggle has been going on for years for genuine reasons, and to cast aspersions on a genuine people's struggle could be nothing else but a politically loaded statement. That is exactly how we look at it. It is definitely a politically loaded statement intended to scare us into silence, but which is not going to happen here.
Right. Let me get Henry also in on this. Henry sir, tell me something. You are also an advocate by profession. Now, my colleague Ajit said, listen, let's look at it from the prison of FCRA. I mean, if there has been some kind of a violation, then obviously, but my whole contention, and I'm asking you, is how can you actually connect the protesters in Thoothukudi with the FCRA violation and say all of them have been funded by some foreign agency or the other.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I did not know in what capacity you invited me here, so I take the freedom to be very straight and honest.
Please.
I am one who has been targeted by the Home Ministry for FCRA, not now, but for the past 10 years. 11th year is going on. And you are all talking about evidence. And I would like to tell your colleague, Ajit was there, that from the 12th of July 2012 till today, my bank accounts have been closed for over 3,025 days. And I have undergone 4 suspensions, one of which was withdrawn. And thereafter, the re-registration was not allowed. And the allegation was precisely that we are working against the interest of the nation, working against untouchability, working on issues of caste discrimination, working on issues of slavery, bonded labor, police atrocities, environment, protecting the environment, the right to freedom of association and assembly, is fighting for against national interest, is the crux of the statement that the governor has made.
Yes.
This is totally unfounded. And it has been timed at a time when the Supreme Court is to hear on Monday the petition where Vedanta has appealed to the Supreme Court. You try to create an atmosphere and try to create this bogey. Your earlier bogey used to be your sealed covers. Now your sealed covers cannot sell anywhere any longer. Now you start with this bogey of foreign funds.
Right.
Can the governor come out in the open and say who received funds and who was involved in the Sterlite struggle?
Right.
You are demeaning the people who genuinely were on the streets struggling by
and
your statements.
Yeah,
I would quote Mr. Vaiko saying, this is out of arrogance.
Yeah.
This is not coming out of your position as a governor.
But that's where I want to bring Ajit again, in again, because you said that, what evidence does the governor have? Ajit, I was thinking that he is on a podium. He is the constitutional head. He talks about how Sterlite produced 40% or whatever percentage of copper, which is very, very important. And he almost said that there seemed to be a kind of a conspiracy. And then he also named the company. You see, usually you and I or anyone else, unless we have evidence, we will not name it. Do you think that somewhere maybe the messaging was not correct, Ajit Vijay Kumar?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the governor and someone like him who kind of occupies an occupational post should deal with such issues with much more sensitivity. I think because, as you said that, 14 people have lost their lives. Yeah, in 2018, and to just to put it all under one blanket to say that all that happened there and all those people who are protesting are all being funded would be taking the point a bit too far.
Right. Fatima, I want to come to you, ma'am, and I want to ask you that, your struggle has been a very long struggle. Even when it came to compensation, one saw that, first a compensation was made and then the court intervened and then Mr. Stalin intervened, you were given more compensation. The struggle somehow has not really ended. Let's talk about, he says it's foreign funded. I want to ask you something. Jobs were also, promised to a lot of people there. What is the status today?
What jobs were provided for the people of Tamil Nadu or for Thoothukudi? Nothing of that sort. They are claiming so, but it's not like that. And you see quite a number of women now coming out to the streets saying they have lost their jobs. I would like to know how many of them have been working in Sterlite before 2018. It is only now they've got jobs because they've got to come out to the streets and cry to the heavens.
I think we've lost the connection to Fatima Babu. We will get it back in a bit, but she was talking about how jobs haven't been provided really. Let me go to Henry here. Henry sir, what Fatima was saying right now, would you like to complete that? Because of the thing, compensation was one aspect, sir. The other was about rehabilitating people. Of course, the health, the mental health and the physical health of people, because I visited that area. One saw what they have gone through. It is almost like a major gas tragedy which we all witnessed in Bhopal. Generations are going to sit there and really cry about the loss of life slowly and steadily. But tell me something, Tamil Nadu government, whether it was AIADMK at that time or whether it is DMK right now, Do you think the government has taken cognizance of the fact that the people have to be rehabilitated, Henry sir?
More than rehabilitation is to ensure that after a 4-year thorough inquiry by a High Court judge-led Justice Aruna Jagadishan Commission,
yes,
where the names of senior police officers, senior IAS officers, and those who are responsible for the deaths have been categorically mentioned. Categorically mentioned. Nothing about foreign funding in that report. All the testimonies, not one person made this allegation that the governor was speaking about. And yet, there is total impunity. Not a single person has been prosecuted, excepting one person that the CBI found guilty. One officer who happened to be an inspector at that point of time and has been promoted as an ADSP, now under suspension. Just one person suspended for this gruesome incident that took place. Impunity is at its height. Whether it was ADMK, DMK, I'm not into it. I'm saying justice has still not been made. Instead of speaking about that as a governor, I have this very shameless statement from a governor who is supposed to ensure that justice is done. He is an IPS officer. He speaks for his own people, perhaps. And that is why he brings these bogies of foreign funding to hide the injustice that was done to people through the policing that they undertook.
Right. You know, Ajit, I want to bring you in here. You know, the Justice Aruna Jagadishan Commission that he speaks about very clearly indicts cops. It says that, so it names them. And there is a very famous picture of a cop in a yellow track pant and yellow t-shirt, actually, you know, aiming at the crowds and saying at least someone should, I mean, you hear also the tape there. Also, he said the Tehsildar, the collector, all of them are culpable. Now, what Henry sir said, that how come he didn't speak about foreign funding? But I want to ask you a question, considering you're an expert on that. It is not his place to speak about foreign funding, isn't it, Ajit?
Right, that's true. And you know, if a 4-year-old, you know, or a commission that actually, you know, looked into the entire case for 4 years, and if there was even an iota of you know, evidence in terms of foreign funding, it should have come up in the report. That's for sure. But that also doesn't, you know, take away the state's right to come back and look at it, you know, in a different set of situation. In the sense of, you know, what I'm trying to eventually suggest here, that while he has said that, you know, there are, you know, looks like there's been foreign funding, we should, and the state there in Tamil Nadu, we should not leave it at that he has made an allegation. I think it's important, and for the martyrs and and all those who are involved in it, to actually push the center and the governor to actually come up with proof to substantiate his claims.
Yes, an explanation at least. Because like you said, you know, so many lives were lost. And you can't possibly say that all of them, I mean, why would I go to some place, Ajit, to die because I get foreign funding? After all, you know, foreign funding is not more important than my life. Fatima Babu, let me bring you back on this. And I think Henry sir made a very, very pertinent point by quoting the Justice Aruna Jagadishan's report, which was presented, you know, in the Legislative Assembly. So I want to ask you that where he says that, you know, those policemen, they were all culpable. He says, what was the collector doing? What was the Tehsildar doing? Now tell me something. What is a common person to take from this? Was that commission report also all faulty? Because now the overriding thing is, oh, it was foreign funded.
Whatever the commission has said, whatever has been found in the report by Justice Aruna Jagadishan is the matter collected from the people. We have spoken to her, we have that Sterlite, and she has not, and it's very clear that she has not made a single mention about, she has not made such an allegation. But for the governor to make such baseless allegations, holding such a high office, I suppose the highest office in the state governance, though not elected, he deserves the strongest condemnation, particularly because he holds such a high office, and to make such an allegation, baseless allegation against the people who are already victimized, adding insult to injury, is one of the worst things he can do. So,
yeah, but I've seen that, you know, a lot of leaders have come forward. Kanimori, because she's from Thoothukudi MP, So she's also protested. A lot of people have said, although, you know, there is a constant slugfest and it's been going on for so many years since the DMK government took over, the slugfest between the governor and the dispensation, you know, in Tamil Nadu. But I want to ask you, as someone who has helmed, you know, this movement, one of the key people, are you planning any movement, I mean, any kind of a protest against Governor Ravi? Fatima.
Sudha, before answering that, whatever grouse the governor has with the government, he has to sort it out with the government. He has to talk about it with the leaders whom we have voted to power. First of all, it is wrong on his part to make an allegation such as this to people who are already hurt and humiliated in several ways. So, this coming from the governor cannot be looked at lightly. So, we are planning to sit together, get legal opinion, get the activists, all of them together. And whenever we are talking about the activists, we are talking as if it's only a small group of people who are out on the streets. No. On the 24th of March 2018, you would have seen almost 1.5 lakhs out on the
I think we've lost
street.
connection. Yeah,
doing all this, we'll have to consult all our people, we'll sit together, we'll plan, and we will ask for the removal of this governor.
Right.
Yes,
I mean,
we are planning to hold a consultation, get a legal opinion, and then to go in.
Right. Henry sir, I want to bring you in because we are running out of time. I want to ask you something that, you know, there are two aspects to this. One is the humanitarian aspect and the other is the political thing. You know, there is a political slugfest, like I said, which has been going on and on. When you look at it through the prism of just humane, you know, that people who died, that teenager who died, the mother of that teenager, etc., etc. You know, here is where I think we need some kind of, some action from the administration to say this far and no further. You can talk about FCRA, sure, but you can't belittle the people who are dead. Do you have any hope from the Tamil Nadu government, Henry sir?
See, this whole business of foreign funds has to be seen in the light of foreign funds versus Vedanta. Vedanta is not a Swadeshi movement representative in India. Vedanta is equally a global corporate company. And therefore, let's not think as if we are talking about something which is Swadeshi and there is some foreign fund conspiracy from outside come to break the Swadeshi movement. It is a governor speaking on behalf of a corporate who has been accused, who has been criminally accused, who has been indicted by the court, who has paid a fine of over 100 crores, which is deposited by him, and is pending in the Supreme Court. That said, I think people like us and people like me, many others in the human rights movement, continue to demand from Mr. M.K. Stalin that he ensures that the impunity is broken in Thoothukudi, and the Kakis who are indicted by a commission of inquiry with tons of evidence, which runs into thousands of pages, naming officers, naming personnel, that they are punished through a process of criminal investigation that is carried out by a special investigation team. This is what people want. People don't want any other favor, any more charity, any more doles, any more compensation. They want punishment. They want a process which will end in a punishment. That this cannot be repeated. You allow this to continue, Ambasamutrams will come up. Ambasamutrams will come up. Impunity leads to impunity. Please do not forget that.
Ajit, I want you to have the last word. I mean, what do you make of this entire thing? Like we said, we've segregated FCRA on one side and the entire human aspect. How would you like to sum this up? And what do you think? Do you think the Honorable Governor has actually overstepped a little bit?
Right. So to sum it up, I would say that the actual tussle and the actual suffering, which we should kind of put it differently. I think this whole suffering bit, that is for sure and real, and it should not be put to subject to the whole center versus state versus the governor tussle. I think that should be some amount of humane element has to come in, given the fact that. And one more important thing, the last word here, which is something that I think we have not spoken about, is eventually it's all about livelihood as well. So like we have thousands of people who are out of jobs as well. So how do we come to a closure and where we also ensure justice, but also ensure that people get to live a dignified life.
Yeah, but then that hasn't happened, like Fatima said very
Correct.
clearly, that rehabilitation has
Correct.
really not happened. I think this topic is not going anywhere. It will get only hotter as the days proceed. Let me thank Henry Tiffin and also Fatima Babu for joining us on this broadcast. And also thanks are due to you, Ajay Kumar, for joining us. For all the news and analysis, keep watching News 9 Live.